All right. Hello and welcome to United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey. Once again, it's the first Saturday of the month, and the last of our winter presentations, where will be online only. Starting next month, starting the first Saturday in April, will actually be back in person at the observatory this time. So tonight, just as a reminder, you can always find us on our website, uacnj.org. That's where you're going to find a list of all our member clubs, as well as various presentations and activities that we have going on. You'll be able to find out all sorts of information about what equipment we have as far as telescopes and other fun science projects we have going on up there. In addition to that, you can also click the like and subscribe on our YouTube and our Twitch. That's where you can find us live streaming when we do our presentations. And also check us out on our socials, our Facebook, our Instagram. We also have a Patreon because we are a nonprofit, and everything you guys have done to help keep our lights on and the electricity running has helped us quite a lot to keep offering these free public programs. So now, with that, tonight's program is once again What's Up in the March Sky. Lonny Buinis has been giving talks at UACNJ since it opened. He's the only member of the International Association of Astronomical Artists to specialize in virtual reality planets, some of which appear in his ebook, which he'll shamelessly promote later. And although Lonnie holds degrees from Stevens Institute of Technology in physics and computer science, he puts his pants legs on two at a time, just like everyone else. So with that, we're going to have another lovely presentation with Lonnie.
Thank you, Kim. Always appreciate the introductions, and I'm very grateful for the people behind the scenes, Chris, Jeff, and all the amateur astronomers at UACNJ, otherwise known as Jenny Jump, the observatories of the UACNJ. Welcome, everybody. Let's find out what's up in the March sky. We do this first Saturday of every month. So, of course, there's going to be 11 more of these for the rest of the year and beyond. So, in the meantime, for those of you who get bored easily, if you're not interested in what's up in the March sky, you can play with some free virtual reality asteroids with the link on the bottom, astronomyinmotion.com/VR for virtual reality slash planetoids, the term preferred by the author Patrick Moore, because asteroids is deceptive. It means star-like. And planetoids, little planets, it's more accurate. They're not like stars. The asteroids are like planets. Let's find out what's up in the sky. I've got some of the principal objects of the winter sky up there. Orion the Hunter with the bright stars Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse and Rigel, some nebulae, gas clouds. And so let's take a look at all of these. When you do visit UACNJ, we will put this up, some guidelines about asking questions. We like questions. There's no such thing as a stupid question. You please ask questions of Kim in chat, and she'll relay those to me at the end of my talk, and I'll try to answer them, or just make up answers if I don't know the answer. Actually, I won't make it up. I promise I'll look it up and try to get you some accurate information. We do ask you when you're there visiting to be careful and drive off with your car's headlights on, even though it gets in the eyes of the amateur astronomers. I like to use this website, go-astronomy for upcoming events. And they have events for the whole year, month by month. So what you do is you look on the observing menu for astronomy events, and you'll be presented with several things: eclipses, calendar, other sorts of activities, space launches. But I always click the event calendar, and I see that March is, as we say, using the technical term in astronomy, boring. Yep, March is a little boring, but it's important to point out the phases of the moon, because if you want to see faint objects like nebulae, plural of nebula, which is the word for a gas cloud in space where planets and stars are forming. Or if you want to see faint objects, say a faint star cluster, not planets, those are bright, but faint objects, then you'd want to do it when the moon is full or new. I'll give you a few moments to think about that. March 7th, which is just a few days from now, we have a full moon where if you realize, you go out and look at the sky during a full moon, it's kind of hard to see anything else except the full moon, some bright stars, and maybe a planet or two. So don't look for faint objects early in the month. Do that the day after the March equinox when the moon is new, close to the sun in the sky. All right, is it really close? No, it looks close. We use angles in astronomy. We say that the angle between the sun and the moon is small as the moon crosses over or under the sun. If the moon crosses in front of the sun, that's an eclipse. It doesn't happen every month because the moon's path is tipped to the Earth's equator. So we have to wait for that whole orbit of the moon to move around to the right spot for an eclipse. March equinox comes from equal, equa, and nox, night. Equal nights, equal days. Equinox, and that's the vernal or spring equinox. And that's the exact time in universal time that we have daylight savings time coming up soon. But I believe it's a 5-hour difference now. After daylight savings time, it shortens to 4 hours from the time in London, the universal time. Doesn't matter. All you have to remember is March 20. Let's take a look at some events, and we're going to start with the moon. I've highlighted all the main phases of the moon. You can do this yourself at moongiant.com with their calendar. Just go to moongiant.com, check out the current phase, the next full moon, the next new moon, has all kinds of neat lore and information about our moon. But I like these calendars because you can see just exactly the phase of the moon, full on the 7th, last quarter 15th, new moon 21st, and first quarter 29th. Now, the best time to see details on the moon is when the boundary between light and dark is right dead center. You can see craters and highlighted by shadows from sunlight during the first quarter of the moon, which is the end of the month. That happens as the sun is setting. The moon will be due south. So setting sun, look for first quarter moon. If you like to get up early, as the sun is rising, you'll see the last quarter moon on the 15th in the southern part of the sky. But I know a lot of us, including me, I don't like to get up that early. So why is it called a quarter moon? Half lit up, right? Half is light, half is dark, or barely lit by earth shine. But what about the other half of the moon that we don't see behind the face that faces us? Right, so it's a quarter. We call it a quarter moon because quarter of the moon's lit up. The other side is half lit up too. Moon names. March, the wind moon, the little grass moon, the worm moon. The names from the Farmer's Almanac, which I've gotten here from Wikipedia, and you can all do this too, are more informal. Some come from Native American names, some are folklore, folk names. Names according to Beard are earlier in history. But it depends on what reference you look at. If you look at Go-Astronomy, they prefer worm moon, worms. Is this a time to get worms for fishing? But you have the whole year laid out here. A few days ago, some of you may have noticed a very bright object low in the west. A friend of mine just tonight pointed out that in Hawaii, they reported an odd-looking UFO low in the sky. It was actually the planets Jupiter and Venus, very close together. These are the brightest of the planets. And this kind of alignment, which is called a conjunction, astronomers have fancy names for everything, a meeting of two planets in the sky. Are they really close to each other? No. Venus is much closer to us and the sun. Jupiter is 5 times as far as we are from the sun. Venus is closer to the sun. But in the sky, occasionally they seem to come together, as they did in the year 2 BC when they were so close that as they set, they seemed to merge into a single bright star, which some historians have likened or identified as the Star of Bethlehem. This does not fit well with actual history. If you read the book, The Star of Bethlehem, An Astronomer's Confirmation, long out of print, he makes a better case for the 6 and 7 BC triple conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. But that's a topic for another time. I actually do a talk about this. So we missed that, but never fear. The two planets are still fairly close to make a nice pair. Low in the west, you got to get out there early as the sun is setting. Just after, look for those bright planets. And we can do that interactively by using a computer program that's also a free app for your mobile device. It's also a website if you just want to use the supercomputers on the website from Stellarium or Celestia. Stellarium is the program we're going to use, and it's free. And it looks like this. Facing west at United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, we're looking at the main building where we will be doing our talks right there on the driveway starting April. But I don't like to start in the west when I'm trying to get oriented to the sky. Let's just assume that none of us know anything. I started as a lay person. I'm not a professional astronomer. I am an amateur astronomer who knows even less than many of the amateur astronomers who run United Astronomy Clubs in New Jersey at Jenny Jump. So do feel free when you visit to ask a lot of questions. There's no question you can ask is stupid, except maybe, oh, I kicked your tripod. Is that all right? Don't do that if you can avoid it. I know it's dark. When you're observing, be careful not to tangle in the astronomer's equipment because it takes time to set that up. I like to start in the north and look low in the sky for some familiar stars, which are kind of hard to do when you have a really dark night sky. Now, I'm using an adjustable map here, which looks a lot like, if I zoom out, it looks a lot like the kind of star map that you've probably seen at museums and science centers, and also at Jenny Jump. We sell them. They're called planispheres, circular star maps that you can adjust for any time of day, night, and year. So right now we're looking at real time, we're looking at the sky as it appears right now at Jenny Jump. Facing north, do you recognize a familiar group of 7 stars here? Now, we can cheat a little bit, a lot, and turn on some of the kinds of connecting lines that you see on star chart maps. You have to use your imagination in the real sky to pretend that there are lines or associations between these stars. And no two people are alike. We all see things differently. In fact, many people have drawn these patterns differently in different cultures and over the centuries. So I'm using a standard star chart type of mapping that's based on Greek legends, Greek mythology. This is supposed to be a bear, the head, the claws, the body. And this famous group of 7 stars is only a piece of an official constellation. There are as many constellations in the sky, official, as there are keys on a piano. So I'll let you piano players in the audience tell the other members of the audience how many that is. This is an asterism, a star picture that's not a part, it's not officially a constellation, a star picture. It's a star pattern, but it's famous, Big Dipper, right? Part of the Great Bear. We can apply pictures in Stellarium. There's an Ursa Major, and Ursa Minor is bear small bear. Also, Small Dipper. And if you want to get oriented in the sky, it's good to know where north is. And that's not very hard to do in New Jersey or anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere that you can see these 2 stars in the Big Dipper. Follow the pointer stars, Merak, Dubhe. All the bright stars in the sky have Arabic names, named by the astronomers who worked during the time when European astronomers were busy just fighting for their lives in the Dark Ages. Arabic astronomers named all these bright stars. This one we've named Polaris, Mismar, or other names, Arukaba, Arabic name. We don't use that anymore. We call it Polaris, the pole star, because 5 times apart from these stars, the pointers brings us to where the Earth's North Pole is pointing. The Earth is a spinning top, yes. See, I've got a model of the Earth right here. There's a blow-up Earth, right? So it spins on an axis, which is tipped to its orbit around the sun, and that axis, the north one, must point somewhere in the sky, and it points to about where my arrow is, which is not at any bright star. The North Star is close to that spot. Now, in most places in New Jersey where there's light pollution, I see only these 3 stars of the Little Dipper. So it might be hard to recognize, but it's not difficult to find if you can see the Big Dipper. These constellations never rise or set. They just spin in a circle around the North Pole, close to that star. We've got a dragon, Draco. We've got a house-shaped group of stars that's supposed to be a king, and a W or M, depending on time of year, for the queen, king and queen Cassiopeia, the queen Cepheus, the king. Looks just like, look, I'll take the pictures. So it looks just like a king and queen, right? Yeah, did I warn you that I make stuff up? So yeah, if you have any objections, you can voice them in chat. This star was our pole star thousands of years ago during the time the Egyptian pyramids were built. The Earth, as it spins on its axis, wobbles. So the place where the North Pole is pointing changes in the sky every 25,000 years. And a few thousand years ago, it was here. In a few thousand years, about 10,000 AD, it'll be by the bright star Vega or Vega in the summer. So 5 circumpolar constellations always spin round and round. Queen, King, Dragon, Big Bear, Little Bear. Great way to get started orienting yourself to the sky. We've used a technique called star hopping to find one thing from another. We can do that in other parts of the sky. If I work my way on over to the west, so when you go outside, just look for N for north, past northwest to NW, and look for W, right? No, right? Because in Stellarium, you can turn things off and on, like the cardinal points disappear, reappear. All kinds of helper markers. You can put them up. You can put names up. There's one for one of the planets, Uranus. But I want to draw your attention in the west to stars of winter that are going to be disappearing. Right? These are important stars, stars that mark the path of the moon and sun and planets. Right? So we've got a famous star cluster, a V-shaped group of stars that you can find very easily by using this prominent constellation we saw at the beginning, Orion the Hunter. Thousands of years ago, this was a female constellation, a more matriarchal society invented a female hero or heroine. I'm not sure of the exact mythology. Later on, by the time of the ancient Greeks, this became a male hunter holding a club and the skin of an animal. Belt. Star hopping. We use the belt of Orion to point in the direction of the Hyades star cluster, which makes a face with a bright red eye, Aldebaran, a supergiant red star, 66 2/3 light years away. No relation to the rest of the stars, 154, 171 light years. So this star must be in front of these, right? It's an accidental alignment, making the face of Taurus, the bull, sign of the zodiac. Follow the belt stars again, star hop, past the Hyades to the Pleiades star cluster. I had a friend who mistook this for the Little Dipper, and it is kind of a dipper shape. That's about how big it appears to the human eye in the real sky. I have to zoom in and out a lot in Stellarium because we're compressing a huge space of stars. It's 180 degrees down into a little flat surface. Young star cluster, old star cluster. Young star cluster of Pleiades, and there's the gas from which it was born. Why is it lit up bluish in color on long exposure photographs? Well, these are young stars. Young stars burn more hot than the sun, hotter, more hotly. Take your pick, adverb or adjective. They're hotter, right? So they burn blue. They burn through their nuclear fuel in the blink of an eye compared to the lifetime of our sun, which has been around for 5,000 million years. That's 5 billion. These stars, maybe a few 100 million years, if that. So it's a blink of an eye. Young stars, hot stars. The human eye generally sees, I see 6. Some of you sharp-eyed people might see 7 or 8 stars. Binoculars will show you dozens, telescopes, many dozens. Open star cluster, Pleiades, it's a famous one. Let's go in the opposite direction from Orion's belt, down to the second brightest star in the sky, Alpha. Greek letter, alpha brightest, beta second brightest. Alpha, Betelgeuse. Oh, I found there's 4 pronunciations listed in Wikipedia. Betelgeuse, Betelgeuse, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. Made famous from the movie Beetlejuice. Sounds like beetle juice. Yeah. Alpha and beta, Rigel. You might recognize this from Star Trek.
Now you just
Yeah, I'm sorry, I said it 3 times. Sorry, Kim. Everybody in the audience, look out. Watch out for an odd-shaped fellow. Note the color difference, reddish, bluish. This is more prominent in the real sky. Stellarium colors are a little weak. And I mentioned the second brightest star in the sky, the dog star. See the dog? Don't see a dog. Note the pattern. Now I'm going to change that to H.A. Rey, who wrote a book, The Stars, A New Way to See Them. Let's see, modern, H.A. Rey. Let's see how he drew the dog. A little bit differently. Whoops, I think I failed to do something here. Modern, oh. Well, that didn't work. Oh, it did work, and because I can't get pictures. Yeah, he redrew this one differently. And that one, and Orion's a little bit different. See that? Now there's his crest. There's the club looks more like a club. H.A. Rey decided that the bull should have long horns like this. I'm ignoring a very bright star that's not a star. Anybody know a star brighter than Sirius? Alpha Canis Majoris, brightest star in the dog, Canis Major. This one is 8.6 light years away. There's a star that's 8.3 light minutes away. I'll let you think about that. Part of the winter triangle. Betelgeuse, Sirius, Procyon in the little dog, which looks just like, look closely, see the little dog? Yep, just like a little dog. Yep, can't believe everything I say. This is called the winter triangle. And I just recently learned about the winter hexagon. 6 bright stars. There's actually 7 now temporarily because this is not a star, it is the planet Mars. Very close to the red star Aldebaran. Note the red twinkling star and the red star that doesn't twinkle but moves slowly through the sky. That's a planet very close to us compared to the stars. Let's begin with Rigel, 1, Aldebaran, 2, Capella in the Chariot Rider, Auriga, 3, 4, Pollux in the Twins, 5, Procyon, the little dog star, and 6, Sirius. Winter hexagon, now currently marred with a seventh bright object, the planet Mars. Let's center Mars and zoom in, and let's see how small Mars is. Field of view down below, 43 degrees. That's about the sharpest part of human vision. You would see this many constellations or stars. There's Perseus, holding the Medusa's head. Zoom in. Field of view shrinking, 20 degrees, 10, 5, 1 degree, like the field of a telescope or a finder. You've got to get down very low to see Mars as it appears in a small telescope with dark markings and bright polar caps. Let's zoom in a little more. No telescope on Earth will see Mars this clearly. Not visually. If you photograph it, take it with a CCD camera and stack the images and process, you might get a pretty sharp pictures, which amateurs can do now. If you look at Mars over time, you can actually watch it rotate. We can speed up time in stellarium. Look at that. Mars spins about 24 and a half hours for a day. Let's stop right there. We're stopping at 22 hours minus 12. Mathematicians in the audience, 22 minus 12 equals 8, 6, 14, 100. Just giving you time to compute. That's 10:11 p.m. That's what the sky looks like. Mars has changed position. And there are the two tiny satellites, which are just about impossible to see in a small telescope. I got to zoom way out to see the rest of the sky. And that's why you need telescopes to see details on planets. Even binoculars will not do the trick. Binoculars can show you the 4 moons of Jupiter, but Jupiter and Venus are too low near the sun right now. Mars is the dominating planet in our winter sky. I did see another planet earlier. Shall we go backwards? Let's go back to about 8 o'clock. Everybody still awake? 8 o'clock? This is 9 o'clock. Still a satellite zoom by. Planet Uranus, that's hard to see. That's very far. And even in a good telescope, the disk looks kind of fuzzy. Not much detail on Uranus. It's also tipped at a weird angle to the sun, so we can see the poles. And Uranus, like all the giant planets, has rings. Lots of moons, many more than we see here. Planets, the sun, the moon, all line up along the signs of the zodiac. That's where the Earth's orbit would be if we drew it out into space. Can we do that? Yeah, of course we can do that. Not in the real sky. It's called the ecliptic. Ecliptic. So if you know the signs of the zodiac, the bull, the twins, the crab, and the lion, you will always find the moon, the sun, and the planets. I've been ignoring some objects. Did you see them? Some faint objects, especially in the vicinity of Orion. There's some really beautiful objects here. If you, even in a pair of binoculars, you can see something fuzzy going on in Orion's sword hanging below the belt. This is probably one of the, well, I like to think of it as the most famous and easily recognized nebula in the sky. Nebula, gas cloud, hydrogen gas, the most abundant substance in the universe. There's an astronomer, Eugene Ox, who has a theory that can be tested, is being tested, that dark matter may be a special state of not some special particle, but hydrogen, the most abundant thing in the universe. Dark matter may be a special state, a second state of hydrogen. Interesting theory. Hypothesis. Let's not confuse our terms. Red hydrogen. Hydrogen glows with its own color. Not that we can see it, right? Everything looks green to the human eye at low light levels. Remember the green comet recently? Yeah, everything looks green. Except in long exposure photographs, we see that blue light of the young stars that were just born recently here, practically yesterday in geologic time, millions of years ago. reflecting off dust, the dust and gas that made these stars that collapsed and became stars. Dark dust looks like holes obscuring the light of the gas lit up behind it. It's a beautiful nebula, easy to locate. And a famous one here looks like an animal, dark absorption nebula, dust in front of bright hydrogen gas. Recognize the animal, the cat, the centipede, the dinosaur? No. I'll let you think about that. Other beautiful nebula. This one starts with IC. I don't remember the catalog name, but you can bet your bottom dollar, to use an ancient expression, because I am old after all, that the amateur astronomers at Jenny Jump can tell you the names of these things, and they'll tell you how far they are and what they are, and they know a lot about the sky objects, the deep sky objects, deep in the sky, thousands of light years away. Look at this one, huge. A creature with one horn, a mythical creature. Monoceros, one, mono, ceros, horn, like rhinoceros, which means rhino, nose, ceros, horn, nose horn. This is a one horn. And of course, you're not going to see the picture because I chose a different culture. Let's try this one. Okay, I've managed to turn them off. This is the unicorn, which contains, amongst the stars, my favorite flower nebula. I won't tell you what it is, you can guess. So we've used the technique of star hopping to find our way around the sky. I'm going to do a quick review later. Gemini offers us a good opportunity, again, to see the difference in color between stars, bluish, yellowish. Our star, the sun, Sol, would look like a yellow star, a bright one from the nearest star to the sun, Alpha Centauri. If I were to make everybody dizzy by spinning back to the north and look for Cassiopeia, the queen, our sun would be here. It would form a zigzag shape and distort Cassiopeia. It would be a bright yellow star in the skies of Alpha Centauri. When I go further and further to the left, I'm going east. Everything rises in the east, sets in the west. So rising in the east amongst the observatories, 6 observatories here at Jenny Jump, you can find the main star of spring. And I'll be talking more about that throughout the spring, April and May. And you guessed it, what's up in the April sky and what's up in the May sky. And that is Leo the lion. Amongst the stars of Leo tonight, the stars of the sky are kind of marred by a moon that's getting fuller and fuller in a phase called gibbous. Not quarter anymore, gibbous. So we go from crescent to quarter to gibbous to full. You can watch this happen over the next few nights if the sky is clear. Go out and take a look. For scale, this little circle here, Mare Crisium, Sea of Crises, is about 2 New Jerseys long. Is that a unit of distance? The astronomical unit, distance from Earth to Sun. The amateur astronomer's unit of distance to New Jersey. About 2 New Jerseys would fit in there. It's a frozen sea of lava, the Sea of Crises. And you can see it with the naked eye. Look at the man in the moon, look for the little hole in the upper right when the moon is high. That's a quick introduction to the sky. To review quickly, I would start in the north to find the 5 constellations that never rise or set, the circumpolar stars. I would first look in the west to see the stars of late winter disappearing. The planet Uranus, if you have a telescope, or come to Jenny Jump and ask the astronomers to show you. If you're there early enough in April, maybe it will still be up, but fairly low. You can't possibly go wrong if you can find Orion. Orion the Hunter is going to point to the right to the bull and the seven sisters, the Pleiades. To the left, to the dog, you could find the winter triangle, three bright stars. You can look up higher for the winter hexagon from Orion's kneecap, the eye of the bull, Capella in the chariot rider, the twins, the little dog star, the big dog star. Some of the brightest, most colorful stars are in the winter sky, and winter is also an ideal time for steady skies. Worst time to be comfortable, you got to have a parka on, although lately the temperatures have been a bit weird, so it's a good opportunity to see the sky of winter, to appreciate the sky. Now, things change over time. I left out that we can change the date and time in stellarium like this: 4th, 5th, 6th. Note the position of the moon night to night at the same time. 20:05, 8:05. I subtracted 12 because this is military time. 20 hours minus 12 noon, 8 o'clock, 8:05. We're still awake, right? Younger members of the audience still awake at 8. Go out, watch the moon shift from night to night and change its phase as well. I'm going to center the moon, I'm going to zoom in and see that it's, look at that, full moon on the 6th or 7th, getting close to full on the 6th. So it gets worse and worse over the next few nights to see the sky, especially fainter objects with the moon in the way. But eventually, when we get to the middle of the month, you might see the Milky Way on a really dark night sky, such as you find at the state park at United Astronomy Clubs in New Jersey. Some of the darkest skies in the state of New Jersey are there. We're very proud of that, although things have been getting worse over time with light pollution. The planet Mars will be shifting its position over the next few months as it goes around the sun. The Earth catches up with it. Looks like it goes backwards and it goes forwards again, right? That's called retrograde motion. That's how we tell a planet from a star. It moves. Also, tends not to twinkle if it's high. The atmosphere does funny things. Planets can twinkle. They can when they're low in the sky. And at last, if you're working your way over to the east, past Gemini, the twins, past Cancer, the crab looks just like a crab. Beautiful star cluster. The beehive is here. Check it out in binoculars. And the lion, Leo. And you're going to want to look for the ecliptic, right? You're going to see that red line in the sky, right? Right? No? No, I lied. Right. You're not going to find cardinal points. You're not going to find lines. Oh boy, now he's really making it tough. The lion, backwards question mark triangle. Orion's not hard, right? And the dog kind of almost looks like a dog legs, head somewhere in there. Orion, belt, sword. What's this? When I was a kid, they said Betelgeuse, the shoulder of the giant. And I looked it up when I was adult, when I became an adult, looked it up. The literal translation from Arabic is the armpit of the giant. How romantic. The kneecap of the giant, Rigel. Some nice bright stars, easy to find. Star hop, use the belt, find the face of the bull Taurus. Keep going, find the seven sisters, the Pleiades. It's a lot of fun. And that's why we amateurs at Jenny Jump are there to help you learn about the sky the way we did. You know, we used star maps, star charts. We went out, we looked. There's no substitute for the real thing. Stellarium is fun, but it's not like the real sky. You know, the real sky is a challenge. You got clouds, darn clouds. I do a new talk that I'll be doing soon called What Bothers Me? And the main thing that bothers me, clouds, darn you. Let's hope we get some clear skies to observe. I'm going to switch back temporarily to what's up. And I'm going to conclude with some news. Don't worry, we have plenty of time for questions. Asteroid mining, there's a company, Astroforge, is going to become the first company to mine an asteroid and bring the materials back to Earth. Now, this could be very important because there's a shortage of the rare earth metals that are used to make your cell phones and electronics, very important substances, yttrium and odd sounding names. There's a monopoly on a lot of those areas by China. If we can mine asteroids, we can get plenty of those materials for ourselves out in space. And they're going to launch a couple of missions in April and October. I will update you next month if they do that in April. And that's Astroforge is the company. Small company made from humans. Look at that. Human beings. And there they all are. Putting a human face on a technological company, Astroforge. For reference, I refer you to UACNID, repeat after me, UACNID.org, O-R-G, organization. That's the United Astronomy Clubs of New Jersey, an umbrella organization for many different astronomical organizations in the state of New Jersey and close by, Pennsylvania and New York as well. UACNID has all kinds of events, presentations like mine, and by others, about black holes, about exploring Antarctica and doing research there. One of our members has been there often and gives talks. For those of you who like to read, there are few and fewer of us. Let's keep the faith, keep reading, everybody. Magazines, Sky and Telescope Astronomy have been in print for decades. They have websites. You can subscribe, but the free portion of the websites are substantial. Lots of good stuff there, maps, observing tips, upcoming events, news, all sorts of things. And there are so many apps now that I've just given up listing them. Apps where you can hold up your mobile device and it will follow the sky based on your GPS and tell you what you're looking at. Incredible. Two of them, I mentioned Stellarium, the one that I've been using. You can download the full version to run on a computer, laptop, desktop. What's a desktop? Anybody know? You can run it off their website with their supercomputers. You can use it on a mobile device, stellarium.org. And Celestia is fun because it lets you fly through space through the solar system. You can see the only other place in the solar system where the rings of Saturn are tipped to viewers. And it goes through a cycle like that. Thin, thick, thin, thick. One place is the moon Iapetus. Saturn's moon Iapetus is far out, takes 79 days to go around once, and it's at a tipped orbit, so the rings of Saturn do that opening and closing. And there's only one other place in the solar system where that happens conveniently, and that is, I'm waiting, yes, Earth. And if you forget everything else I've told you, I'll be very disappointed if you forget space.com. Very easy. They got news, search for life. They've got some advertisements, but that's okay. Lots of good news about everything, including spaceflight and science. Space.com. I don't work for space.com. That's a disclaimer. So to repeat, if you forgot, early in the month, bad time to look for faint objects. You can still see the planet Mars. You can still see star clusters. Late in the month, after the equinox, equal days and nights, I forgot to show it to you in Stellarium. March equinox is the 20th, and the next day the moon is new. Great time at night to see faint objects. And speaking of the moon, there's that moon calendar. Check out moongiant.com. Before I sign off, though, I am going to show you one final time. I'm going to go back in time I'm going to go forward in time to March 20th and backwards in an hour from 9 o'clock at night to when the sun is up. And I'm going to bring up two markings. The ecliptic we saw before is the path of the Earth's orbit around the sun drawn out into space. And what if we draw the equator of the Earth out into space? The equator. The two intersect two times in the year, vernal equinox, autumnal equinox. Vernal is spring. And there it is on the 20th. The sun crosses the equator of Earth as drawn out into space. Days and nights are equal, equinox, equal nights, equal days. all over the Earth. Planet Mercury is nearby, near to the sun. The moon out in the daytime. Can you see the moon in the daytime? Yes, you can. So you can play all kinds of games like this with markings in Stellarium. I heartily recommend it. To conclude, some shameless self-promotion, I have virtual reality objects. The new ones that are free are on my website, astronomyinmotion.com/VR for virtual reality /planetoids. But you can play with those for free on the website. You can buy my book, it's cheap. You can work planets with your fingers on a mobile device or any pointing device in 3D. You can spin them. You can zoom in for detail. You can click links for videos, short, snappy videos. And I'm very proud of my new production, Mars at Your Fingertips. There's an app, there's a website, and there's a demo. The demo is HD, high definition. It's terrific. You can zoom in, see a lot of detail. You can click 5 red hotspots to hear all about the giant volcano on Mars. Short, snappy videos narrated by my wife, who I never paid. Shameless, very shameless. Should I take her to dinner? Should I give her a salary? We'll take a vote. We'll take a vote from the audience. And then the paying version is 4K video resolution with all 28 landing and crash sites on Mars and more features, all the principal features of Mars and how they interconnect with one another. Very exciting. It's inexpensive. It's my shameless self-promotion. Mars at your fingertips. Astronomy in Motion has a lot of this stuff for free. Play with the 3D objects. Let me know what you think. You can compare Mars from 100 years ago with Mars today. And you can always contact me at my email, lonnybuinis@gmail. You've been a very good audience. When you come to visit, we'll show you this to remind you that we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Discord, we're everywhere, Patreon, YouTube, uacnage.org. Check us out, and thank you for being such a good audience.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you
Thank
so
you so
much,
much,
Lonnie.
Lonnie.
And
And thank you, everyone who joined us. We are going to be having our question and answer session now. Uh, like Lonnie said, do check us out on our website, on our socials. Very grateful for people when they hit the like and subscribe button down on our YouTube. It just helps keep us relevant and on the searchable pages. So, speaking of questions, the first question is, are you excited to be back uh, in person starting next month? See, that's the thing. You're actually one of the ones where it's fun to poke. Get those interesting questions in. You know, let's see if we can stump him. So someone actually here's a fun comment. Someone actually said the worm moon is actually the best moon for mastering certain dance moves, specifically the worm. Oh, hold on. It looks like we are having some technical difficulties. It looks like you somehow dropped off of our Twitch on our live stream feed. I can see you here. Right, so we're just gonna give that a couple seconds. So so while I'm waiting for Lonnie to be able to, oh, I just got word from our tech guys that you should be able to be heard and seen by the audience now.
Great.
Sometimes I love it when the quick fixes are quick. All right. Our next question is, we had a comet last month. When might the next comet be visible?
Oh, that's a good question. There is no way to predict exactly. Well, actually, There have been surprises where bright comets show up unexpectedly because comets are coming in from the outer solar system all the time. If they're large enough, they will create there'll be a much brighter coma or that atmosphere that comes off when they heat. So we don't know when a bright one will show up, but we can tell when it's coming close enough if it's going to be potentially a good bright comet to see. So there are periodic comets that come in. I don't know offhand which one is coming up in April, but I'll be looking that up and putting that into my presentation.
Nice. All right. So our next question is uh, were there any fun things getting prepared for the new season? So I'll let you go first and then I'll give some insider information about what we have coming up.
I'm not sure about fun events at Jenny Jump, but I am going to be preparing with my wife and my dog to go out west to see the total eclipse of the sun next year. I have, shockingly, I've never seen a total eclipse of the sun by the moon. So I'm looking forward to that. That's another year. As far as upcoming events at UACNJ, I think Kim would know more.
Yeah. I think actually we have an eclipse at in October this year that we're only going to be in like the 25% to 30%. Uh, People will correct me if I'm wrong. It is the internet after all. Um, but that one where in October, totality should be in, I want to say Texas, actually, right? uh, This year. And then April coming up, we have the eclipse, and that'll will be in, I want to say around 90% totality, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
So we're working to see if we could get those volunteers to be able to do something for those, but nothing set in stone yet.
right.
As far as other things that are prepared for the new season, we are updating our outdoor lecture area to have some more cover in case of weather, some nicer cover for the speakers, uh, as well as some updates to the inside where we're updating our museum to include a bit more, uh, including some of the meteorite display that has been in hiding since the beginning of the pandemic. So we are working to get those in. So you guys come on in, join us at our Jenny Jump facility in Hope, New Jersey, and we're more than happy to see you. And as far as the question of speaking of the new season, are you ready for it?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm
Soon. Yeah,
looking forward to it. I'll put on my best space ties. I've got different ones.
we as usual, there's always going up to the last minute. Oh, hold on, I need to tweak just that. So you know how it is where you're ready and you're both very not ready for it. And someone commented that they are ready for NEAF. And we'll actually, NEAF is the Northeast Astronomy Forum, and that's up in Rockland, New York. And we are actually going to have a booth up there. So if you are at that astronomy convention, do feel free to seek us out. Like I said, we'll have a booth there and you'll get to talk and see some of us. All right. So our next question here are there any other nebulas named after flowers?
Ooh, I can't think of any offhand. There's a heart and soul. There's an owl, animals, but
Yeah,
rosette.
there's like the rosette,
Yeah, that was the
but
rosette that we saw, but I can't think offhand. Maybe someone out there can research that. Huh. There should be a chrysanthemum nebula, but I've never seen it.
yeah, that's the one thing. There's always more to learn. So not any one single one of us amateur astronomers has the answers to everything. I don't think even professional astronomers have all the answers. Right. And someone had, let's see, where they could see that the where you had pulled up the Horsehead Nebula. They're like, I don't know, dinosaur's believable. It looks exactly like the one behind you.
Yeah, that is, believe it or not, this guy we found him in a store in Chester, and I was walking down the road to the back to the car to take him home, and a couple of little girls passing by in a car had their heads out the window staring at Rexy here. It's the biggest stuffed dinosaur I've ever found. Ah,
Don't let them get
he's
carried away
hungry.
there.
He's hungry.
I hear that. Uh, Someone also asked, when you were in Stellarium, why Mars looked sideways there. It looked like the poles were, you know,
Right.
side to side instead of how we normally view it, where it's, upright.
Yeah, now notice the same thing happens with the moon. When the moon is rising, if you put Mare Crisium up at about 2 o'clock, the way it's shown when the moon is in the south, it does this, right? Because we're on a curved Earth. So we're seeing it from different angles. The moon isn't changing, we are. So it's really a perspective shift. And Mars is doing the same thing.
Right. So the next question is, do you own or regularly use a telescope?
Ah, I I own 3 telescopes. I haven't used them in months, maybe years, and I'm hoping, since I'm
For shame.
retired recently, I'm hoping to get out my newest telescope and take a look at Mars soon. That's a very good question. I haven't been lazy. I've just been busy with a dog and projects. So thank you for the reminder. I'll get out there with the telescope. Oh, in fact, you can bring your own telescope to Jenny Jump, and the amateurs will help you set it up and use it. I've done that. I've done that for people before. We're very happy to do that. We just want you to enjoy the sky, and you can do it for yourself.
And as counterintuitive as this may seem, uh, if you do bring your scope, especially if it's a new scope, bring the user manual. Sometimes it helps.
Mhm.
Because, sometimes we end up a little more specialized than what we have. And the little reminders of all those little things about other telescopes uh, are nice. Some of our some of our chatters have actually given us a couple different objects in the sky that are named after flowers.
Ah,
Paul mentions that there's Caroline's rose is a cluster, and James says there's the Tulip Nebula in Cygnus.
I thought there was something. I thought there was a tulip. Yeah, that sounded familiar.
Right. So next question is, let's see, for the mi uh, asteroid mining mission, do they have any idea about how long each mission would take?
I did not see an estimate, but it's on the order of months because you have to get in to the right position to rendezvous and back again. It's not the flights are kind of coasting. They're not using a powered flight. When I say flight, I don't mean in an atmosphere, right? So it does take time to do these orbits that coincide together. It has to go in a curving path. For instance, to get to Mars on an energy efficient orbit called a Hammond orbit, it can take the better part of a year. So it's slow.
Yep, but sometimes it's fun to know, when something launches, about how long you might expect till the next big thing happens
Yeah, they're going to
in
do
that
it.
mission.
They'll be doing tests in April and October. So we should know something by the end of the year.
Right. Speaking of having to meet up with other things, the next question is, are there any other interesting conjunctions coming up this year?
I didn't check. So
I want to say, I think you covered this, where a few of the planets and the moon are going to be kind of,
yeah,
all in
actually,
that line.
yeah, you can follow the moon. The moon is passing Mars, and that'll happen again.
And once again, James is really saying user manuals, bah. And Neef's
we don't
only equals empty wallets for astronomers.
we don't need no stinking user manuals.
Yeah, I I do kind of agree with James that there's a lot of fun toys that you can get for astronomy at Neef. Uh, you want a new telescope? It's there. You want that brand new focuser or eyepiece? It's there. So that we are definitely looking forward to that. And Red Dog actually says Neef also equals cloudy skies because everyone's buying new gears. Because everyone knows that when you buy new gears, as soon as you want to use it, it's cloudy.
Of course.
Interesting thing in the sky, like an eclipse, it's cloudy.
Yeah.
Nothing going on. Crystal clear. Not even atmospheric aberration. Right, so I'm just going to put in a last call for any last minute questions for our audience. And like I said, uh, you mentioned, do check us out on our website, uacnj.org. Uh, you'll find our member clubs, all our upcoming talks and events. And speaking events, do check out our socials, our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. That's where we'll try and post about what we have coming up. Right. So the other thing, like I said, we are a nonprofit. Uh, all your donations have gone to help keeping us our observatories and everything in place, and our lights on and the heat running, so that we can offer these free public programs. And we greatly appreciate all of you. And even if you cannot donate, the best thing you can do is actually hit that like and subscribe down on our YouTube or the follow button on Twitch, and that'll give you notifications the next time we are live. And that's a nice free way to help support the channel. And let's see, the last fun comment I have here is point the shiny end up at the sky. That's all you need to know. At which point, Red Doug said, I don't know, that's kind of bad advice for a reflector because they work
Backwards.
slightly off, slightly backward from what you expect. Right. So that looks like all for tonight. And like I said, thank you, Lonnie, for another great presentation. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a good night.
Good night.